Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're setting the stage for a truly engaging journey into the hidden forces that drive our daily decision paralysis. I mean, if you've ever stared at a simple email for like 20 minutes, or agonized over a major career move until you just threw your hands up and gave up, you are absolutely not alone. Today, we're going to peel back the layers of indecision to understand what is actually happening in our minds when we're forced to choose. Okay, let's dive into this. Why is making choices so incredibly exhausting? It's a completely universal feeling in modern life, isn't it? We're just bombarded with endless decisions literally from the second we wake up. The sheer volume of options we face daily can leave us feeling totally overwhelmed. And as you'll see, it turns out there's a very real scientific reason why our brains just hit a wall. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The psychology of choices. 2. Age and risk tolerance. 3. The fear of responsibility. 4. Anxiety and our well-being. And finally 5. Taking back control. All right, kicking things off with section 1, the psychology of choices, the surface symptoms of indecision. To start, we've got to acknowledge that the sheer volume of information we face daily makes decisions, both professional and personal, incredibly daunting. Cognitive researchers actually point to a phenomenon called decision fatigue. Basically, this is the deterioration in the quality of your decisions after a long session of cognitive demand. Since making choices is mentally taxing, our energy literally depletes. It's like a gas tank. When those cognitive resources run dry, especially in a high-stakes workplace environment, we start displaying avoidance behaviors. We just stop making choices altogether because our brains are simply out of gas. But, beyond just being tired, there are these common psychological roadblocks that literally halt us in our tracks. We suffer from anticipated regret, that paralyzing fear that making the wrong choice might tank our career or hurt our team. Then there's analysis paralysis from total information overload. And, of course, a crippling desire for perfectionism. Oh, and if there's a lack of psychological safety at work, meaning you're in an environment where mistakes get punished instead of being used as learning moments, that will completely strip away your confidence to act. Period. Moving right along to section 2, age and risk tolerance, how demographics shift our choices. So as we get older, our brains and bodies physically alter our willingness to take leaps, shifting our demographic behavior entirely. And this brilliantly illustrates two extreme decision-making mindsets we often fall into. On one hand, you've got a heavily reward-focused mindset. This person plunges ahead quickly, ignores risks, and actually, they can be really vulnerable to exploitation or even ethical lapses just to get that promised reward. But on the flip side, you have the highly risk-averse mindset. This leads to total paralysis by analysis. You fear negative consequences so intensely that you actually hold back your own career advancement by avoiding good choices, like, say, asking for more responsibility. So how exactly does getting older impact these mindsets? Well, there's this fascinating study from the Royal Economic Society that looked at exactly what happens when a society's median age increases by exactly a decade, 10 years. They wanted to see if the old conventional wisdom that older people are more conservative actually holds up in the data. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the hard data. Researchers found that a 10-year increase in a society's median age literally shrinks our societal willingness to take financial and professional risks. Specifically, it causes an effect equivalent to a 2.5% drop in stock investments and a massive 6.0% drop in self-employment. So yeah, our biological and cognitive aging literally makes us more risk-averse over our life course. Which brings us to section 3, the fear of responsibility, shifting from making choices to owning outcomes. Let's peel back another layer and go deeper into the psychological core here. Because sometimes it turns out we don't actually fear the choice itself. We fear the burden of what comes after. Enter hypengenophobia. That is the irrational fear of, or strong aversion to, taking responsibility. Now, I want you to really consider this for a second. Does your hesitation in life stem from a simple lack of confidence, or does it come from traumatic past experiences with failure? Because often, we refuse to own a choice because we are terrified of the pressure, the potential blame, and the hit to our self-esteem if things go wrong. And the roots of this aversion, they run deep. For a lot of folks, taking charge in the past only led to conflict or punishment. A massive contributor here is childhood conditioning. If you were forced into codependent relationships as a kid, where taking responsibility only benefited someone else, like a parent, and offered zero personal reward to you, you're going to subconsciously run from owning outcomes as an adult. Your brain equates responsibility with self-sacrifice, so you become completely blind to the personal benefits of taking charge. All right, on to section 4, anxiety and our well-being. the ripple effect on families. When we as adults carry this deep-seated risk aversion, lack of confidence, and fear of responsibility, it creates a powerful ripple effect on family dynamics. It directly impacts the next generation. The emotional weight of this reality is profound. Recent studies in India investigating how mental health challenges are passed down confirm something huge. A parent's mental state directly shapes their child's. The research shows a significant positive correlation, meaning parental anxiety strongly correlates with an increase in child anxiety. When parents are highly stressed and anxious about outcomes, children absorb and mirror that exact same tension. And the research goes even further. It highlights that parental overprotection, which is often just an anxious parent trying to control risks, can actually spike a child's anxiety. When kids develop an external locus of control, meaning they believe they have zero power over their own circumstances, their anxiety shoots up. Interestingly, the study also found that poorer emotion recognition skills in children were weakly linked to higher anxiety too. It really just shows how deeply interconnected our emotional states and our abilities to process choices truly are. Let's move to and see how this builds into our final section. Section 5, taking back control, integrating meaning with strategy. Now that we've reached the core of our onion, it's time for some actionable, empowering solutions to reclaim our lives and our choices. To prevent decision burnout, particularly when you're balancing personal growth and family obligations, start with step 1, understand your priorities. You've got to regularly reevaluate what actually matters. Step 2, communicate those needs. Talk to your family and ask for support. Step 3, set realistic goals so you aren't constantly overwhelmed. And finally, step 4, create a balanced schedule. Physically block out time for both self-care and family to keep yourself grounded. But to truly overcome indecision, you really need a dual approach. Tactically, try running a 1 to 5 risk assessment on your fears. Is the impact actually as catastrophic as you think? Limit your options to reduce cognitive overload and actually schedule that self-care time. On the mindset side, though, you've got to do the inner work. Voice your fears openly to build psychological safety with your peers. Reframe responsibility not as a burden, but as a conscious choice to own your life's causation. And if past trauma is blocking you, engage in internal parts work to heal it. So the crucial point is summarized beautifully by psychiatrist Viktor Frankl. He said, finding meaning is the key to resolution of psychological concerns and to overcoming life's difficulties. See, while we might be terrified of failure, isolation, or just the immense weight of our choices, generating personal meaning is the ultimate existential antidote to all of it. When you find meaning in your work, your family, and your responsibilities, the anxiety around decision-making just begins to dissolve. Meaning is the anchor that allows you to confidently choose your path. Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought for you to carry forward today. What is the next choice you will own to reclaim your meaning? Responsibility is ultimately a choice you can say yes to. By stepping out of the comfort zone of indecision, you take back your power to create the life you actually want. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope you leave here today feeling empowered to tackle your very next big decision with total clarity and confidence. Catch you next time.